Hello everyone, TMMgamer here, and today I have the pleasure to bring you another one of my FIFA 14 videos. Now today's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about FIFA 14 and the changes between now and 13, and whether some of the things that people have been going on about are accurate, or whether just because it's a new FIFA everyone's being a little bit, you know, on edge and all that stuff. But before I get into that, there's just a couple of things I want to talk about. Firstly, the gameplay in the background. This is a pretty sweet game. It is a really nice league win on foot. I think I win 3-2 in the end, but it's a game where, to be honest, I defend pretty well. The goals I concede, one of them is like a 35-yard finesse shot from Christian Benteke, which is just an incredible goal by him. And I can't remember what my other goal is, but it's a pretty good example of a game where I don't play brilliantly by any stretch of the imagination, but I win the game comfortably, I defend pretty well. And it's just a nice, solid victory. And these are the sorts of wins that you need, because you can't demolish players 8-0 every game. There's no way that's happened. So wins like this are very, very good, where you just shut your opponent down for most of the time and win comfortably and pretty easily. So this is a good game in the background to view. And the other thing I just wanted to mention very, very quickly, I'm going to London tomorrow for the day, so I won't be able to get a video up. And now I've also started working, well, volunteering part-time in a charity shop, so I'm going to be working a couple of days this week. So there might not be a video Monday and Tuesday, but I'm going to endeavour to get one up on Wednesday. In fact, there probably will be one up on Tuesday, actually, if I pull the finger out. So, but there definitely won't be one tomorrow. Probably going to be trying to get a tutorial up for probably Wednesday, actually. So the first tutorial, actually the second tutorial, because I've already done one. Well, technically the third tutorial, because I've done a first impressions, done a corner tutorial, and then this one will be a 4-2-3-1 tutorial, and it's going to be the second example of that formation. So the one with the wingers, not the one with the central attacking midfielders. So that's what's coming up. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, this commentary is going to be about some of the things that people have been talking about FIFA 14. And what I mean by this is, I've been looking through a lot of the comment sections. I've been looking at people's messages on Twitter. I've been just seeing like what the general consensus is. Obviously, I've got a couple of friends who play FIFA as well. I've been playing them, seeing what they say about it, and there's already quite a few opinions about FIFA 14. A lot of people are saying that it's very, very easy to score goals, that defending is a lot harder, saying that, you know, lob passes are overpowered, crossings overpowered, the finesse shot's a little bit dodgy, keepers making mistakes. So I thought I'd just actually sit down, take a commentary, just talk about what I think about FIFA 14 so far in relation to FIFA 13, because, you know, the game's been out for a week or so, so you're beginning to get a deeper understanding of the game and how it feels. Because, you know, first impressions, like I said in my first impressions video, you can have an idea, but it takes a little bit of time of playing the game, playing a variety of different game modes, etc, etc, to get a better feel of the game. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is people were saying that lobbed passes are overpowered in this game. And there was one particular comment I saw on my, I think it was my last video, the one when I was talking about whether player ratings are slightly inflated or slightly dodgy in FIFA. And one guy said, "Oh, I'm really fed up with lob passes in FIFA, you know, constantly I concede goals through lob through balls, people play the ball up front all the time, it's very, very easy." And I'd say that actually I disagree with that slightly, because in FIFA 13 lob through balls were a genuinely tremendous way to score goals, because in the dry conditions they would basically stop on the pitch all the time. So you just dink a ball over the top. You didn't have to do a diagonal through ball, you could just literally do a dead straight ball and you dinked it over the top, and the ball would check off the turf and hold up. So what this meant was, if you had even a reasonably pacey strike, you know, pace in the 80s, you could just dink through balls over the top, over the top, over the top all the time, and just charge through and run on and get very, very easy goals. So in my opinion, actually, lob through balls have been toned down a little bit for FIFA 14. And I think this is good, because, you know, I use lob through balls a lot, but I usually, you know, dink it into the channels, bring players into play. I didn't just aimlessly hack it up fields and get a quick guy to chase. And what they've done is, because they've introduced these whole new ball physics, one of the changes that's been brought in is to, when the ball goes over the top, instead of it checking on the surface like it used to do in 13, more often than not it skips through. So when you do those little lofted through balls, you've got to sort of get them on the full, or do, like I mentioned before, that long diagonal through ball into a corner or into a channel, so it has a lot more space on the pitch and the ball can just run away a little bit, and then your guy can catch up to it and he has more time on the ball. So Lob through balls are definitely effective, and I've definitely conceded goals to lob through balls, and I've scored goals to lob through balls, so they are still a good way of getting there, but I'd have to say they're not overpowered, because like I mentioned, the changes to the ball physics have meant that, you know, a lot of the time the ball runs away. If you see a guy who just aimlessly punts lob through balls, yeah, he'll get one to work, but he'll miss, you know, 8, 9 through balls before one of them sticks. It definitely relies on a lot more precision and a lot more good decision making now to when and how you're going to execute it. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, and that's my opinion on that. The second thing is finesse shots. Now, I mentioned in my first impressions, I think that they had toned down the finesse shots from the demo. And they have done, because in the demo, finesse shots you never missed. I mean, there was one I scored with Ezekiel Lavezzi that I actually used in one of my demo videos, where he just, and I was so gutted about that. That was a beautiful effort from Coutinho. Oh, can't believe that hit the beans on toast. Never mind. But like I was saying, in the demo, anywhere within 35 yards, you had a finesse shot. I was very disappointed when that didn't go in. So they have toned it down slightly. However, I still think it's a little bit too easy to score finesse shots. And a goal I'm going to concede in a couple of minutes against Christian Benteke, like I mentioned earlier, it's just ridiculous. You know, Benteke, I don't think he's ever hit a finesse shot in his life. You know, he's a great finisher, but he always hits the ball with his laces. He always likes to drill the ball low and score goals, and that was a really nice finish again. I've never seen him hit a finesse shot. He's certainly not hit a finesse shot from over 30 yards. Yet in this game, he arcs into the top corner. I mean, Pirlo would dream for months about hitting a shot like that. You know, it was just absolutely incredible. I still think it's too easy to score those sorts of goals. I've scored several brilliant long-range finesse shots with players like Michael Carrick, who isn't exactly renowned for his goal scoring. So, you know, that's one thing that I do think still needs to be toned down a little bit. Because, and that's a comical own goal by Koscielny. You know, he couldn't have done anything there. He had to put the challenge in, otherwise I was going to slot it in. But one of those things, you know, finesse shots definitely are still a little bit overpowered in my opinion. You know, you see too many players too regularly score from too far out with finesse shots, and I think that's the thing. You know, finesse shots shouldn't be nerfed. You know, they are a legitimate way of scoring goals. Certain players do score absolutely incredible finesse shots, but this is the goal coming up right here with Christian Benteke. Just look at that. Look at that. When has he ever done anything like that in real life? How easy was that to go in? He's just hit the ball, medium pace, with finesse shot, 35, nearly 40 yards out, and Michel Vorm doesn't have a prayer. That goal's just flown in. And you've seen this entire game, you know, my opponents had basically no chances. And it just gives players a too easy get-out clause, in my opinion. It's just too easy to score goals like that. So, you know, that's one thing that I would agree with some of the comments I've been saying. Sorry, not saying. I do think finesse shots are a little bit OP, and they do need to be toned down, and they have been toned down from the demo. But as you know, I've been playing FIFA for about a week and a bit now, and I have seen far too many goals like that. So fingers crossed, they can just tweak that slightly. The next thing I wanted to talk about, sort of on the same theme, certainly related, is whether it's too easy to score goals. Now, I've mentioned that, you know, obviously finesse shots, in my opinion, are a little bit too easy. But a lot of people are saying that, you know, crosses are too easy, certainly corners are too easy. And, you know, obviously I've mentioned the lob through balls. A lot of people have been saying lob passes, you know, contribute to this very, very easy way to score goals. And, you know, my opinions on this are a little bit more complicated, because it's not as black and white as that. You know, certainly it is harder to defend in this FIFA. You know, I've mentioned this before, but, you know, my major strength in FIFA 13 was my defending. You know, for most of the time, I was very, very solid. If I conceded in the game, I'd normally be disappointed. And I won a lot of games like 3-1, 2-0, that sort of scoreline where I just kept it nice and tight. My opponents only had a couple of chances. Yeah, he might have had a good finish, or I've made one slight mistake. But for the rest of the game, I've been very, very solid. And you know, I still think defending is definitely manageable in this FIFA, but it is certainly trickier, because I think they've improved the attacking AI noticeably. Because before, strikers, wingers, they would run and occupy pretty predictable spaces. So if you sent a guy on a forward run, he would basically run in a dead straight line towards the goal or forward up the pitch. And that doesn't happen anymore. And you see again there, finesse shot nearly goes in. They're overpowered, definitely, but you know, attackers now, they arc their runs more. I mean, you saw the winger in the top of that picture there. You know, he'd been sent on a forward run. He didn't just aimlessly charge forward. He'd, you know, checked inside off his left foot to stay on side, and he was coming inside and the ball was there if he wanted to slot it in. And that's one of the major things that they've changed from FIFA 13. Because in FIFA 13, like I've mentioned, the attacking AI was incredibly brainless, and it's still brainless in certain instances. There are so many times I have forwards just stand in offside positions for no benefit whatsoever. So I'll win the ball back in midfield, I'll go to play the ball into the feet of the striker, and he'll be pinged for being offside because he's just standing 3 yards behind the defence for absolutely no reason whatsoever. But in terms of once you've actually got the ball on the break, I mean, you saw that little run there. You know, the winger was heading wide and then he arced his run to find space. And this is why I think it's so much more difficult to defend. And that was just horrendous from Jolyon Lescott there. Horrible mistake. That was completely my fault. But you saw that run, the arcing run, and that's something that they never used to do before. So what the very, very easiest way to defend in FIFA 13 was just to keep a nice solid line of players, get people in behind the ball, pressure and hold that line, and then just cover the spaces behind. Because as long as you had that sort of nice solid defensive wall, it was very hard to break down, because like I mentioned, the players had run pretty much in a straight line when they're on the attack, and unless you fell for a skill move or you lunged in and missed a challenge, it took a lot of skill to break that line down. But now that they've changed that, it's much easier to tear open the defence, especially on the counter-attack. You know, defending counter-attacks is really hard in FIFA because the attacking movement is so much better now. You know, always got pacey players. You know, pace has always been very, very important in FIFA, and I think it will always be important in FIFA. But it certainly is easier to tear defences apart in that instance. You know, quite easy to score from corners as well. I've already shown you how to do it in my tutorial already. Very easy to score from corners. Crosses, I don't think crosses are overpowered, because you need to be able to work the ball into an effective situation to get, you know, an accurate, useful crossing. You can't just aimlessly punt balls into the box. That doesn't work. If you've got two solid centre backs, that's not going to work most games. But it's certainly an attractive option. But that's the thing. Just because it's possible to score goals in a way doesn't mean it's overpowered. And this is the line. You know, I don't think crossing's overpowered. I don't think, you know, the lob pass is necessarily overpowered. So it's easy. It's certainly easier to score goals, but I think that's because of mechanics changes, you know, an improvement in the attacking AI. In the long run, this is going to be a very, very good thing for FIFA, because before, you know, striking AI was just mental. You know, it was chewing my own elbow off mental. That's how stupid some of the strikers' movement was. So it's a great thing that they've actually improved that. But one of the major consequences of that change is now so many people are trying to adapt to a style of attacking that wasn't in existence before this game. So I think that's the real change, and why, you know, why it's so difficult to defend and why it seems like it's much easier to score goals. I don't think it's because attacking is overpowered, but it's because of the change in mechanics and the change in way strikers move, and changes in how passing's moving, because I think passing's more crisp in this game as well. So you can knock the ball about much more easily, your strikers will make much more intelligent runs, and by and large, defenders online aren't used to that. So all of those things put together in the melting pot means that, you know, at the moment, high-scoring games are very, very common. And I've mentioned this before, but you know, I've had 5 draws, I've had a 6-5 victory, I've had a couple of 4-all draws, I've had a 6-0 win. You know, I've had so many games with massively high score lines. But I think as people get used to it, as people learn to defend more, as I release some defending tutorials, fingers crossed pretty soon, spoiler alert, possibly, as all of that happens, defending will tighten up, and I think FIFA will begin to stabilise again, because, you know, I've mentioned this before, but this is a new game. You know, very few people have got this game locked down yet, so there will always be more mistakes, more goals when people are shaky in their defending. So that's my opinion on that. Be interested to hear what you guys have to say about that, actually, because that's probably the most contentious issue at the moment, the whole is it too easy to score goals things. But you know, that's out of the way. There's one thing I do want to quickly talk about as well, and this is also mentioned from the same guy, and I can't remember this guy's name. Real apologies. I got quite a lot of comments on the last video, so it's all gone into a sort of mush in my head. But there was one guy who'd said that Another thing that he was really annoyed about in FIFA 14 was the rebounds, and I completely and utterly agree. But this is the thing, you know, dodgy, horrible bobbles and rebounds are always in FIFA. They have always been in FIFA. You know, I've spent so many times, so many hours going, why has that happened? And you know, a lot of goals I concede in all FIFAs, you know, will be a great move from my opponent, and then he'll get one-on-one, he'll hit it straight to the keeper, and the keeper will palm it back into the area, and it will drop to the only opposition player in the box who'll put it in. And in fact, actually, in my last live commentary, it happened. You know, a guy broke through, one-on-one with Michel Vorm, put the shot straight at Michel Vorm, and then Vorm just threw it into the area, and the guy rolled it into an empty net. And you know, this is something that I'm not sure whether it's a conscious design choice or whether it's just a side effect of physics engines that they use in the game. But dodgy bobbles and rebounds happen seemingly every game in FIFA, and it is a little bit frustrating because, you know, I know, you know, FIFA, it is a football simulator. I saw one guy comment on the video saying, if FIFA isn't a football simulator, it's just you know, an arcade game, so the ratings don't matter. That was his point, and I completely disagree with that. You know, the vast majority of the mechanics in FIFA quite accurately represent how football is played in real life. You know, the passing mechanics, crossing, you know, all of the ways you can build up and play and score goals and take free kicks and corners and everything, it's pretty accurate. But I definitely do agree that rebounds are far too common, and I really don't like conceding goals in this way. You know, if a player runs through my team and puts the ball in the top corner, yeah, I'll be disappointed that I conceded, but I'll go, that was a good goal, well played. If the ball pings around the penalty area, misses 5 of my defenders and drops to the one opposition player in the box and then rolls it into an empty net, I find that very frustrating because it happens so often. You know, the amount of times the ball will go straight to that attacker instead of the defender, it's pretty annoying. So that's one thing I do agree. Perhaps it's been done deliberately, or perhaps, like I mentioned, it's a side effect of the physics. But either way, I do think rebounds are a little bit too common. But once again, that's, you know, the same in FIFA 13, it was the same in 12, and now it's the same in 14. So guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Talked about a lot of issues there and a lot of opinions, so if you guys have any comments on any of them, I'd really be interested to hear what you guys have to say, because like I've been mentioning, a lot of these issues are pretty contentious, so it would be very interesting to see what you guys have to say. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Looking forward to read your comments, and as always, have a great day.